Hello and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Alfonso Peluso and I'm a Studio Associate Professor in the College of Architecture at IIT, the home of the legendary Mies van der Rohe, and I'm adjunct faculty at Columbia College Chicago in the Interior Architecture program. Shout out to all of my students. I hope you're having a great day. It's a sunny summer day, end of summer in Chicago, and the fall semester is underway. It's a new fall semester, fall of 2021. I hope all my students are doing well. All right, today we're going to look at making a little lap joint, and in this video we're going to look at a machining process called pocketing. So you see I have this little demo piece here. So if I wanted to put two pieces together so that they would make a lap joint, and I have two little holes drilled in here that I could put some bolts through to fasten this together. So what this would look like if I take this and copy it, and then if I rotate it, and then rotate it once more. Oh, let me rotate this in the other. There we go. Let's rotate it again. Okay, so now if I move this from this point to that point there, I've created this little lap joint. So, when you're doing digital fabrication, you might have these large scale pieces, these very big pieces that you have to put together. So this is one way that you can join larger pieces together into one by making a lap joint. All right, so let's start this over from scratch. Go ahead and save this file here. So I'm going to go to File New, and I'm going to go to Small Objects Inches. I'm going to go to my perspective view. I'm going to set up this grid to make it easier on my eyes. So I'm going to go to DOC, Enter. And I'll go to Grid, and I'll set this up to be 12, 1, 6, and 1. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my stock. My stock is going to be 12 inches by 12 inches. So I'm going to go to Layer 1, and I'll rename this. I'll call this Stock. I'll make sure that it's current. I'm going to draw a rectangle from the origin. And that's going to be 12, 12. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and give it the thickness of the stock. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to choose vertical equal yes. And I'm going to copy that down 0.5 inch. Okay, I'm just going to do some quick measuring here. Make sure that this is 0.5. Yes, it is. Make sure that this is 12 by 12. Yes, it is. Okay, so 12 by 12 by ½ inch. Okay, so that's my stock. Now I'm going to draw my piece that I'm going to, or my part that I'm going to be milling. So for layer 2, I am going to make this layer called profiling. That's just so I can cut it out. Okay, so profiling is current, and I'm going to draw this piece. I'll go ahead and draw it off to the side here. So I'm going to use a polyline. And I'm just going to snap here. And I'm going to make this 4 inches in this direction and I'm going to make it 10 inches in this direction. Okay, by 4. Just close that up. Okay, so that's my profile piece. So I'm going to put this onto my grid. Should work like so, and then we'll end up having 2 of these, so we'll end up having to mirror this. I think I need to just move it down 1 inch. Okay, not that big of a deal. Alright, so there is my piece that I'm going to be profiling out. Now I'm going to set up my pocketing. Okay, so I'm going to call this pocketing. Okay, so you might be wondering, what is pocketing? Well, I'm going to open up my other file and show you in a second what the pocketing is, but I'm going to go ahead and draw this rectangle. I'm going to draw it from this point, and I'm going to write at, and I'm going to choose 4, 6. Oh, I needed to do that in the other direction. That needed to be, let's get this correct. So go ahead and type in rectangle from this point. So that point there is going to be actually 4, 4. One more time, 4, 4. So from that point, I gotta put my at 4, 4. Okay, so that's going to be my pocketing curve. Okay, let me save this file here. Okay, so I'm going to reopen the file that I had open before. Alright, so what is pocketing? Let's look at what pocketing is. So if I simulate pocketing, slow it down a little bit. Let's go ahead and simulate that. So you see what it's doing there is it's cutting away that material, and we're cutting away half of its thickness. So what was a 1/2 inch is going to be down to a 1/4 inch thick. And it's doing that in 2 steps. So I can go ahead and let that finish real quick. Alright, so that's pocketing. You see it creates a pocket in the material. Alright. Alright, so I can go ahead and I can copy this. Okay, so I have 2 of those that I'm going to do for my pocketing. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our pocketing. I want to go down through here. So if you haven't used RhinoCam 2021 before, or RhinoCam in general, you should have a RhinoCam menu at the top of your screen. RhinoCam and saying whatever the version it is. So I'm going to choose RhinoCam 2021. And I'm going to choose mill. Okay, my machine is a 3-axis mill. It's a 3-axis router. The post for the machine, this is the post for the machine at IIT. So the one at IIT uses it is a Shop Saver machine. So if I go down to Shop Saver, Win CNC, so Shop Saver, Win CNC is the software that we're using, and then ATC is Automatic Tool Changer. Okay, for my stock, I can double click on my stock. Just give it a second here. I'm rushing it. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about the stock for a second. Okay, I don't know why it has a height of 10 inches here, but it shouldn't be a height of 10 inches. We don't have anything that high in the file. It should find my outline, and if it doesn't, there we go. Let's click on copy model bounding box. So I kind of like that it didn't find it, because then I can introduce you to this little button, copy model bounding box. Okay. All right, so the top of the box. Okay, right now you see the little origin is down at, I want to just double check and see if that's down at 0. So let's, alright, so I actually want this to be down. Right now that's sticking above 0. I want that to be down. So I'm going to move vertical equal yes, point to move from, and I'm going to move this down. Let's see, if I move it down here, that's a ½ inch. So I'm going to move it down 1 whole inch. Let's try that again. Let's see. That's a little hard to see on the screen. Type in move. Vertical equal yes. Point to move from. And this will be -1 inch. Okay. Alright, there we go. Alright, so that's below 0. Alright, so let's use our box stock. I don't know what it's finding. There must be something in this file that it's finding up that high, but it's okay. It allows us to see copy model bounding box. Alright, so the corner of this box right now is at the -0.5, and that can cause some issues when we're CNCing. So I'm going to pick the top of the box stock, and I'm going to make that 0. I'm just going to click away from that. Alright, just want that to be 0. Dimensions 12 by 12, there we go. Okay, so 0, 0, 0, 12 by 12 by 5. And that's my top of my box stock. Alright, so that looks good. So I just want to explain what's really important here is that the top of my stock is at 0, 0, 0. And then when I go over to my CNC machine and I set my Z height, I set that Z height to 0, and I'm using the top of my stock. Okay. Alright, so setup 1, we're going to go to machining operations. We're going to go to 2 axis, and we're going to choose pocketing. Alright, so what are we going to pocket? We're going to pocket those 2 rectangles that I drew, so I'm going to go to select curve edge regions and pick those 2. Okay, I'll press enter. Okay, those 2 drive regions show up here. They also show up here in this kind of mustard yellow color. I'm going to go over to my tool, and I'm going to choose Edit, Create, Select Tool. And we're going to use a flat end mill. So there's my flat mill. So before I change its diameter, because its diameter, I want it to be a 1/4 inch, not a 1/2 inch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK. So my flat mill shows up, and then I'm going to edit that flat mill. Otherwise, sometimes I have errors if I try to change it before I add it. So I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to make its diameter 0.25. Click out of that. The shank diameter is also going to change to 0.25. The tool length won't be 4 inches. It'll be more around 1.5. Okay, now I'm going to click on Save Edits to Tool. Valid tool definition. Okay, what doesn't it like? Okay, it doesn't like the tool length when I make it 1.5. Okay, probably because the flute length was longer. Okay, so tool length 1.5, flute length 1.5. Okay. I'll make the flute length a little smaller. I'll make that 1 inch. Okay, so that was the issue there. It didn't like that the flute length was longer than the tool length. Okay. Alright, next, feeds and speeds. So speed of the spindle, we're going to make that 16,000. Okay, not 1600, not 16, but 16,000. We're going to plunge into our material at a speed of 100 inches per minute. We're going to engage at 100 inches per, or we're going to approach at 100 inches and engage. So plunge, approach, and engage at 100, and we're going to cut, retract, and depart at 200. And these settings that I'm putting in right now, these will vary. These are good for wood, for 1/2 inch wood with a 1/4 inch end mill. So just keep that in mind. This is for wood, 1/2 inch thick, and we're using an end mill of a 1/4 inch. So that's what these settings are good for. Clearance plane, I can accept the default stock max plus Z distance. Alright, let's head up to cut parameters. Alright, so for my cut direction, I've been having some good luck with upcut. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to conventional upcut. Alright, so here's the main setting here is a step over distance. So when it's cutting the pocketing, it's stepping over. So it makes a cut and then it steps over a certain distance and makes another cut and steps over. We can do this at 75% of the tool diameter. Okay, so not 100% of it, but 75%. So there's some overlap. Okay, cut levels. How far are we going to cut down? We're going to cut down into this 0.25 inches. And our rough depth is going to be 0.25. And our finished depth, well, let's talk about this for a second. So 0.25 is too much to plunge into this. Too much to cut because it's 100% of the tool diameter. So this actually needs to be half of that. So 0.125 inches. And my finished depth can be 0.125, and that's going to bring me to a half. So it's going to do it in 2 steps. Okay, I'll pause for a second there too. I'm just going to repeat what I just said because I think it's really important. So when you're stepping down into material, you want to step down into it at half the tool diameter. So that's what the 0.125 is. Okay, let's go to pocketing, entry, exit. And I'm going to leave the defaults here. Advanced cut parameters, I'm going to leave those defaults. So sorting, I'm going to sort from lower left just to save some time. That's grayed out. So I'm going to use minimum distance sort and then lower left. Alright, and I'm going to click on generate. Alright, so that generated my, you see what's going to be my step overs. and my step down. So if I simulate, so that's making a nice little pocket. All right. Well, that's pocketing with the CNC machine. I want to thank you guys for coming and checking out this video. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, go ahead and search me up on YouTube at Alfonso Peluso. Just recently reached 9,000 subscribers, so thank you everyone for that. I think that's really amazing. Looking to get to 10,000 soon, so go ahead and click on subscribe, click on the little bell, receive all the notifications, see when my latest videos come out. There is something here for everyone. Now I'm starting this series on CNC, but there's Grasshopper, there's Rhino, there's Revit, there's Photoshop. There's something for everyone. If you haven't connected with me on Instagram, go ahead and do so. Search me up. My username is Alfonso_Peluso. And looking to grow my YouTube channel, see what I'm up to with my students. This was our first day of the semester last week, so we're underway. All right. So go ahead and click on my face in the upper left. That'll also allow you to subscribe to my channel. And then in the upper right is going to be the next video, which is going to go further with this one. It's going to look at drilling and profiling to cut this lap joint out. All right, I'll see you in the next video.